Continuing our conversation on having better relationships with your partner or partners during this lockdown, where you are confined in a space for a significant period of time, in which there is a significant rise in people considering divorce from 50% to 84%, which is a tremendous amount. So what is occurring actually? Now, I want to visit the idea intimacy and how you can become more intimate in your relationship. So consider what intimacy actually is. Now, in my book, Relationships 101, I talk about the three I's that occur at the outset of every relationship. And actually, it goes on for the duration of the relationship. And the three I's are infatuation, intensity, and intimacy. I want to talk about intimacy here for a little bit, but I encourage you to get that book. Search on Amazon Relationships 101 by Ron John, RonejOhn. Now, intimacy, what is intimacy? Intimacy is how well, in the context that we're talking about, in the context of the book, and for all intents and purposes, it is how well and how much you know the person. The more you know the person in which you are in a relationship with, the deeper your intimacy becomes. And the more and more you know about the person, the more intimacy that you both have. Now, the challenge, which I talk about in my book, is that every relationship starts off with high intensity, sexual energy, and low intimacy. You don't know that person very well because it's the beginning of a relationship. And as the relationship moves on, certain dynamics occur. They happen in the relationship where the intimacy goes down and the intimacy rises. And actually, the correlation is as intimacy rises, intensity wanes. A lot of things occur in a relationship that makes it that way, and I encourage you to read that book. I'm not going to go over that on this video right now. So the intensity, which is you first in the beginning you have sex every day of the week, and then the next month you have sex a couple days a week, and then some people after 5 years in marriage or 5 years in their monogamous relationship, they have sex maybe once every 6 months. Now, if you're younger, that may not make sense to you. So I want you to ask around. I want you to prove it to yourself. Never believe anything I say. Never take it. Always take everything I say with a grain of salt and do your own research. I've done my research for well over 15 years. Now, how can you have healthy intimacy in your relationship when you are confined with a partner during this lockdown? So I want to go over the fundamental aspect, the foundation of great intimacy, and that is, you probably already know this, it's communication. Now, you've heard before, I know this to be true, you've heard before that the secret of great relationships is communication. The thing that they don't tell you is how to communicate. No one tells you how to communicate in a healthy, fantastic way. And so, which is why this is my goal in these videos. And if you want a full course on having great relationships and having better communication skills and a complete lifestyle overhaul, rethinking the fundamental aspects of your life which drives your life and your relationships, go to greatrelationshipsyou.com. And so, how can you communicate? What are the fundamental axioms you must have for you to be able to have amazing communication with your partner and to keep the intensity from waning and keep that intimacy at a healthy level? I may not be able to go over the keeping the intensity from waning part. I'll go over that in another video. We'll focus on communicating in a healthy way, building intimacy in a healthy way with this video. You have to begin with this premise, and this is the all-important premise. You have to fundamentally base your communication with the recognition that words in and of themselves have no meaning. This is so critical for you to recognize and understand. If you don't recognize this, you will never be able to have good communication with people. But don't worry, I'll explain it to you because it sounds weird. Words have no meaning. What do you mean, Roan? I understand words. Words have meaning. So let me clarify what I mean. Words in and of themselves, and that's a key, in and of themselves, which means intrinsic. The words in and of themselves have no meaning. I'll prove it to you. If I were to go to a different country which doesn't speak English, if I were to say the words in English, these are words to them which have no meaning because they're just words. The only meaning that they have is the meaning we give them, the meaning we agree upon. They mean a particular, they represent a particular set of realities. Some words are abstract, some words are concept, some words that you can't touch them, you can't feel them, they're abstract, such as loyalty, such as honor, such as love. These are concepts. There are words that represent objective reality taking the form of solid objects, such as this is a shirt, this is a I don't know what kind of shirt this is. It's a Gildan shirt, and it's made of part cotton and part something else. I've said words to you, and you understand those words. Now, even the most simplest of words, people define differently, depending on who you are. In fact, you can go up to the same people, siblings perhaps, that grew up in the same family, the same community, the same ethical codes and moral codes, and they will still have simple words in which mean differently to them. Do you understand? You really have to get this for you to be able to have, quote unquote, good communication with your partner. So let me show you how that looks like and how does it even apply in a relationship. What I'm trying to tell you is that when you say words in English, whatever language you're using, you're saying words, and they're listening, they're hearing the words, and they're transferring it, the words are being filtered into their brain. They're listening, they're hearing the sound in which you're uttering, the words that you're saying. They hear the words, and the words are represented in their brain in the representation that they have about the words. In simpler terms, they hear the words and they have different meanings on the words that you're using. Do you understand? Even the simple words, even the simplest of words mean differently to everybody, even in the slightest time. And that slight delineation, that slight difference in how they appreciate the words can be a complete difference in the way you interact and the way you misunderstand each other. So let me give you what your goal is. Your goal in any communication, your goal is not to just talk and speak. That's not communication. The goal of communication is to understand each other. And the way for you to understand each other is to clarify the definitions of words. I want to think of an example, a great example. I should have thought this in the beginning. I'll give you a different example on a different video. But let me just give you the fundamental aspects of good communication and building intimacy. Beginning with communication. And so the goal of communication is understanding each other, and the beginning of understanding each other is to have clear definitions of the words in which you're using. And so your goal in the communication is to say, when you say blue, they hear the words blue and the sound blue, and they repeat it back to you and they say orange. And you say, no, I said blue. And they hear the words, they have a representation in their brain, and they repeat it back to you, and it comes out orange or yellow. And you say, no, 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 blue, blue. And then they say, green? No, blue. And then you explain blue. And they say, oh, blue. Now, what you've done is you've created understanding. What you've actually done is replicated. You've replicated your representations of the words with them. That is the goal of communication, to replicate with them what you're trying to communicate. You can say all the words you want. You can be completely intelligent as you can be, but if you're communicating with somebody who doesn't understand a lick of what you're saying, it doesn't matter. Communication doesn't occur. What you've just done is you've just spoken. That's not communication. Communication is replicating your representation of reality into their representation of reality so that they are aligned and congruent and the same, so that now you can communicate. What does that take? It takes two people wanting to communicate. Now, why is this important before I leave this video? Why is this important when it comes to building intimacy? When it comes to intimacy, your goal is to get to know more and more about them. That is what intimacy is. To know more and more about them. Now, the critical bit when it comes to having great relationships, we talked about having healthy communication, right? Is to understand. And now we talk about healthy intimacy. But why do you want to have healthy intimacy? The reason why you want to have healthy intimacy is because you want to have a healthy relationship. Do you understand? How do you have healthy intimacy? And how does it apply to your relationship? You have healthy intimacy by having healthy communication, by understanding each other, getting to know that person. Get to know them. Get to know what they like. Get to know what they desire. And here's the most important thing. Get to know things they do not like. Do you understand? Get to know things they don't want, they don't like. Get to know things that they do not want to tolerate. In other words, get to know their boundary. Do you get it? Why do you want to know that? It's because intimacy, remember, the goal of intimacy is to have a good relationship. If you want to have a good relationship, you have to know what you shouldn't do and you could explore, and what you should not cross. There are a lot of people that have been with their partners for 45, 50 plus years and cross their toleration line. The things they do not tolerate, do not want to tolerate, they cross it all the time. Why? They've been with that person for 50 years. Shouldn't you know that person by now? Get to know what they won't tolerate. And the way you get that, especially when it comes to sexuality. Do you understand? Many people, when they are not in an environment where they can communicate, in which they are appreciated non-judgmentally, will not communicate those things, especially in the sexual realm. You must facilitate a realm, an environment in your relationship where they are non-judgmentally accepted, so that they can communicate to you things that they may not want to communicate to you because they might feel judged or disapproved, or whatever the case is. Do you understand? Find out what they don't like, find out what they won't tolerate, especially when it comes to sexuality. I'll end that video here. I hope you liked it. I hope it helped. If you want to know more, if you want to do a complete reframing of your psychology and approach your life differently in a way it's successful and positive and happy, and have amazing relationships, go to greatrelationshipsyou.com. Leave a comment below if you have any questions or send me a message. And follow me on this channel. And also, I'd encourage you to share this video with your friends so they can become enlightened, and you can have so you can surround yourself with friends who are enlightened just like you.